Welcome back, everyone. We are live again, and our special guest right now is Renee Jones. Renee has a master's in counseling, a clinical residency, and training in traditional and contemporary methods of transformation. After spending 40 years on the diet yo-yo, she learned how to overcome emotional eating to reach and maintain her weight since 2012. She's a TEDx speaker and the author of What's Really Eating You, Overcome the Triggers of Comfort Eating. Today, she'll walk us through 3 reasons your new diet isn't working and how to fix it fast. Welcome, Renee. Thank you so much for being today with me.
Thank you for having me.
I am looking forward to learning from you.
Okay, so why your diet isn't working and how to fix it fast. I want to tell you the truth about weight loss. You can lose the weight you want to lose and keep it off. Now, granted, I was one of those people who had multiple sizes in our closet. I had my skinny clothes, and I had my fat clothes, and I had my really, Renee, clothes. I came from a family of chronic dieters. Not that we ever expected to maintain the loss, you understand. I thought that was just a cycle. You lose some weight and then slowly or quickly put it back on until you got frustrated or fed up and started another diet. And for me, that went on for 40 years. And it was so frustrating because I'd do really well for a while, but then something would happen. I'd get frustrated or upset. Sometimes it was boredom, and I'd go straight to the kitchen because food would make me feel better. And it would for a minute or two. And then came the negative beatdown in the back of your mind. You know, the loser. What? You have no self-control? Or what about that dress you have to wear next week? Have you ever noticed that those thoughts never pile on to say nice things when we do something well? So in 2012, I made a New Year's resolution, and it was lose weight again. And that lasted a couple of weeks, like many resolutions, and I had to start again. And then I had to start again at the beginning of February and March. And in April, I went to my closet, and even the really Renee clothes didn't fit me. I sank down into the floor and just cried because it was awful. I thought about all the time, all the money I'd spent, the many plans I had tried. And on that day, I needed a safety pin so I could close my waistband to go to work. And for me, that was it. Something had to change, and I was off to find answers. And I found what kept my latest diet from working. And I fixed it as fast as I could. And I reached my goal weight in October of 2012. And even better, I'm still there. 9.5 years later, I'm still at the same weight. I found my key to design a better tomorrow. Now, the thing is, our world is filled with hyped information, particularly around dieting and weight loss. But once you understand what stops you from reaching your goal, then you are empowered to make the changes that transform your life. Because here's the truth. We really do think that a new diet or exercise routine will make that difference. That's not it. And I know when I think of all the sweating and starving I did, and then to still outgrow my really Renee clothes, I had no words. And our ability to reach and maintain our goal is so very important to our health, as well as our confidence and how we feel about ourselves. So, what are the 3 reasons your new diet isn't working for you? Reason 1, you are trying all the diets rather than the one that actually fits your body. The truth is, every diet takes so much time to figure out how to follow it, and that just makes success harder. Your ability to understand and process what are the right foods, what are the right ingredients, the limitations for each diet, that stuff overwhelms us. And it leaves us starving, which is why most people give up. Kate came to me when she was on the edge of giving up because she was A, frustrated with feeling hungry all the time, and B, confused by all the conflicting advice from all the cookie cutter diets. So with my clients, I do an assessment, and I gave her a plan that was specifically for her body. Now, she was surprised and she thought I must be joking. And I said, yeah, try it for a week. You're doing okay. A week's not going to hurt you. It may set you back a pound, but it's a try. And if it works, you'll be grateful. If I didn't do anything to help, then we could try something else. So at our next session, she was absolutely radiant. First, she'd lost 2 pounds in a week. And in the past, she'd had to starve herself to eke out even a pound, maybe. And she decided to continue. And Kate not only saw the steady progress, but even more, she wasn't as hungry. She wasn't as easily upset as she had been. She designed a new pattern that fit her life and her body. And she got results without starving herself, which is usually the thing we most want. We don't want to starve. So the process I show my clients is really simple. Find the plan that fits your body. Like a shoe size, when it fits, it is so much easier. But also like that shoe size, not every nutrition plan fits every body. Our bodies are not the same. Your best friend may need something different. For example, we know we can be identified by our fingerprints as well as our irises. I hear people talking about that our tongues and our ears are also identifiably unique. So why wouldn't our nutritional chemistry be unique? Don't waste your time with overcomplicated or nutritionally ineffective strategies that probably weren't designed for your body anyway. In my 40 years on the diet yo-yo, that was a recipe for being tired, hungry, and cranky all the time. You need nutrition that meets your specific needs, that keeps you satisfied and feeling great. Because when you feel satisfied and you get what your body needs, it's so much easier to stay on track. And it won't end in that constant frustration or giving up or looking for the next thing again. Reason 2, self-sabotage and comfort eating wrecks your efforts. The truth is, one of the biggest reasons people fail to reach and maintain their goal weight is because of self-sabotage and comfort eating. I mean, think about it. When we're sad or tired, bored, frustrated, stressed, grieving, or even just watching TV, we eat to soothe ourselves. It's normal. It's natural. But it's also detrimental to your plan because it adds just too many calories to your day. And if you're mindlessly eating while watching television, you may have no idea how that package emptied so fast. What happened? I had a full bag. And you need an easy and effective way to identify and overcome these constant roadblocks. So I had a client, her name was Jane, and she struggled with comfort eating all her life. She perfected stuffing down her feelings and following them with a food chaser so she could feel better quickly. And I asked her, well, why not just let the feelings be there? Just experience them for a moment without trying to fight them or give into them. See how you feel. So at our next meeting, she was jazzed. She said, I still need a little different distance between myself and those feelings. They could be in the room with me, but I don't want them in my lap. Thank you very much. So what she did was she sat in one chair and then she got up and moved across the room from that space. And she just imagined watching herself in that original chair. And she even brought in, she was very creative. She brought in the idea of some of her son's toys, and she let those represent the feelings. And she had like the positive on one side and the negative on the other, which gave her a visual. And she realized that as she just allowed them to be there, to experience them, they weren't so scary. They weren't so overwhelming. And then, shocker, they evaporated. Her mind cleared, and she could design a new path for herself. When we don't face the feelings that are driving us to food, it becomes so difficult to manage that need for soothing. We have to recognize them so we know what we're dealing with, so we know where our hearts need healing. Otherwise, it just drives the bus, usually straight to the kitchen. And the truth is, most people just skip over this. They depend on a diet or an exercise routine to make up for the extra calories, and it leaves them physically and emotionally exhausted. Or it drives them to overeat when their willpower evaporates. Only when your heart heals can you follow better plans that will empower you to reach your goals. Otherwise, you'll follow the plan for a time and then sabotage your progress or abandon the plan when you get mad or sad or frustrated or stressed or bored or lonely. And you'll never get there. But when we face our stuff, then we can be free. Reason number 3, we ignore our best selves. The truth is, falling off a nutritional plan is a whole lot easier than staying on it. Life makes it way too easy. From the fast food places to the corner shop, then our break rooms are littered with snacks. Free samples are used to market new foods. Candy bowls live on conference room tables and the receptionist desks. And most social events are built around the food and drink. We are surrounded by food. However, this is not actually a problem, because if you have a strong connection with your best self, the ever-present food is not going to be a problem for you. And what's even more exciting is this. When you are living as your best self, everything gets easier. That negative chatter in your mind, that nagging sense of low self-esteem and worthiness, all the wounds and memories, they all lose their steam and go quiet. You no longer need to tamp them down because they have lost their power over you. You just keep living at your best and breaking through things that previously held you back. A client, Claire, would come home from work and go straight to the kitchen to make dinner. And to soothe the stress from work and household responsibility, it was just too easy to take extra bites. Now, she was making sure the flavors were right for the family, right? Of course. But then when she joined her family, she took a regular sized portion on her plate. And then there was cleanup time and more opportunities to keep eating. She didn't want to overeat, but it was just so easy. And she reasoned it was just a bite here and there until her clothes started showing a different reality. She knew she was just soothing herself, and she vowed over and over to do better, but she wasn't following through. She wasn't calling on her best self, nor using her many resources to make a different choice. So we created some triggers to remind her, and we separated the soothing from the food, finding other things that would soothe more and would last. That eliminated the need for the extra bites. The cool thing is, when she reconnected with her best self, she gained more confidence, which not only resulted in losing the extra weight, she got a promotion at work. The truth is, reconnecting with and living from your best self is key to long-term positive results in every area of your life, not just weight loss. Most people try to use willpower and then the pills and potions and powders to affect the change in their weight. They do punishing exercise, thinking that will make it happen. But they avoid the feelings that are driving them to food for comfort and stress relief. If we don't see them, they're not there, right? So if you've been struggling for a long time to make this work and you're tired of not losing the weight and keeping off, it's time to change that now. So here's what I know to be true. If you want to design a better tomorrow, know this. You can lose the weight and keep it off if you find the nutrition plan that actually works for your body. You can lose the weight and keep it off if you overcome the self-sabotage of comfort eating. You can lose the weight and keep it off if you will reconnect with your best, who always makes better choices. The truth is, you can lose the weight and keep it off. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Renee. I am going to give you a round of applause myself. Thank you so much. I love that. And I can fully understand and relate to everything you are mentioning. I know that for myself, whenever I am sad, this is the moment when I go to the fast food area, to the pizza area. I know and I am aware of it. I know that I am not in a good state. I know that maybe in that moment I don't like myself or whatever is going in my head. And kind of it feels like I want to also poison my body because my brain is not well, then also my body maybe shouldn't be well, which is like a crazy vicious circle, right? My luck, I would say, is that I don't gain weight easily.
Good.
So this helped me. Maybe I also don't overdo it. I am not sad very often, so this helps. But what I would like to ask you is if you can give us a tip on what to do in that particular moment. Like I mentioned to you, I am aware, I see that it's coming, and still is like I am drawn to it. You said that it's easy, and if it's easy, I just take it. Is there something I could do to actually stop myself from doing it?
Face the feeling. Because when we face our stuff, we just don't have to stuff our faces. Rather than trying to push it away, sit with it for a minute. What's going on? I see it. What's the feeling that I'm trying to stuff down? And let it just be there. If you can give yourself a pause, because these kind of feelings, I like to think of it as a river, right? And the river just keeps flowing, and you can sit on the bank and watch it, or you can skip rocks on it, or you can put your toes in it. You can even swim in it if you want to. And the river just keeps flowing until we capture it. If you put some rocks over here and hold some of that water over on this side, then when water's not flowing, it becomes rather putrid. It loses its oxygen. Fish can't live in there. And it will die. It'll still be water. It'll be murky. But if we open it up and allow those feelings to flow through again, it rejoins the river. It becomes reoxygenated. It can support life again. And what you're trying to do is not experience the feelings. You're not allowing them to pass by, because feelings will actually pass through us in about 90 seconds, as long as we don't trap it. So if you can give yourself 90 seconds to go, okay, here it comes. I'm not going to grab onto it and hold it. I'm just going to let it flow by. It will.
I love that. And I am going to try it. Next time I am going to try it when it comes, and I will think about you, and I will say, this is what Renee told me to do, so I am going to do it. Yeah. And actually, I would advise also the audience who is listening to us to do the same. Next time that we are having that feeling and we are aware of it, we just apply this technique. Thank you so much, Renee. And
and the other thing I would suggest is figure out why that feeling keeps coming up. Get back into your best self. When you are feeling that way, you're not in your best self. You're being overrun by the stuff going on around you. Just remember, you're the only one of you. You are the only one of you. You're here for a reason. This may be a bad situation, but you have value. If you knew how incredibly fabulous you actually are, it would change things.
I love that. I really love it. And it goes very deep. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I would like to ask you about your first point, because you mentioned about the plan and that people are not applying it according to their body, according to whatever they need. How can they define that plan? Is it possible to define by themselves on their own, or do they need help? How does it work?
Well, you can do this the long way or the short way. The long way is to try various nutrition plans and see how it affects you. What's working and what can you live with? I actually lost my weight on a low-fat, low-calorie diet, but I was tired, hungry, and cranky all the time. And after 2 years after I reached my goal weight, I was still struggling to maintain it. And I got online to do some research, and I found this metabolic test. And it told me I needed to be eating completely different things. And I thought, okay. And like my client, I tried it and I lost 2 pounds that week when I was already at my goal weight, and I was 53. So what that told me was everyone will tell you one thing, but you've got to find what works for you. And you can just go through different things, see how it works. Or you can find an assessment of some sort that will tell you what actually will work for your body.
That's awesome. And you are doing these kind of assessments for people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I now include it for all of my clients because it's just so important. Saves them a lot of time. But again, you can do it on your own. It just takes a little longer.
Yes. I wouldn't advise that to be entirely honest. And I wouldn't advise that in any area, especially in the health part, because in other areas, I would say, I don't know if it's about marketing. Yes, we can go out there and we can test. Maybe we will lose a bit of money, but we can test and then try again and then see what works. But with the health, I would say that we cannot really play. We cannot really test. So if you test, there are consequences which affect too many other areas of your life, for your well-being, which is what we are all looking for in the end.
Indeed. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Renee, for sharing all of this with us. I would like to ask you at the end of this session, who are you serving, and how can people contact you if they want to work with you?
I am serving all my friends who are the frustrated dieters who've spent way too long and too much money and too much frustration on this, and who just want to be free. That's who I serve. They can contact me through packyourownbag.com. And if they would like a gift, they can go to packyourownbag.com/friends, and that will get you a video. And it's a video on goal setting and how to stay on track with your goals.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Renee. Once again, I am honored to have you here. And I honestly believe that without health, we cannot build anything. We don't have the energy to push through the challenges of life, whether it's family, whether it's business, whether it's career, whatever it's out there. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us.
Thanks for having me.